Now I'll admit, stir fries can be a bit intimidating, but I don't want you to miss out on the simplicity and the magic that is stir frying. So I'm going to break it down into 4 steps that you can follow to make any stir fry. Okay, step number 1, and this is arguably the most important of all the steps, and that is prep, or as the French like to say, mise en place, which basically means to gather and set out all of your ingredients, to chop, dice, measure, and prepare everything ahead of time in order to have a smooth and effortless cooking experience. And you see, stir fries actually cook pretty quickly, so it's very helpful to have all your ingredients ready to go at your fingertips so that nothing holds you back. Now when you're chopping your vegetables, cut them into small bite-sized pieces, because again, stir fries cook quickly, and you want your vegetables to be cooked but still have a little crunch, so cutting them into small bite-sized pieces helps with that. Now when it comes to your aromatics, garlic and ginger are definitely the kings of flavor. So I'm grating some ginger and crushing some garlic, but you could also just dice those up. Now I'm preparing 2 stir fries for you today as a demonstration, and I will put all the ingredients in the description below. And now that I've got all the vegetables and aromatics prepped, it's time to move on to the meat. I've selected a flank steak for this first stir fry. I only need half of it, so I'll save the rest for another time. Now you'll notice flank steak has these long grains or strands of meat. So as I slice this meat up, I'm going to want to cut against the grain here, just to ensure that the meat stays tender while it cooks. And these thin slices once again help the stir fry to cook quickly. I toss the steak into a bowl, and now it is time to prep the sauce. Now here's the part where a lot of people get intimidated, because there's 1,000 ways to make sauces, but basically it comes down to this. First, choose something acidic, like vinegar, lemon, lime, yogurt, tomato, mustard, or wine. Then choose something sweet, like sugar, or honey, or maple syrup, or molasses, or even fruit juice. And then you can also choose something spicy, like fresh chilies, or a chili sauce, or a chili paste, or dried chilies, or even something like cinnamon or turmeric. Also add something umami like soy sauce or tamari or miso or coconut aminos or some homemade stock or oils like olive and sesame. For this first sauce, I am selecting rice vinegar, brown sugar, some red chili flakes, some beef stock, and some soy sauce. I'll also be adding a little bit of that garlic and ginger that I've already prepped, as well as some cornstarch to help thicken the sauce. So first I add 1 cup of beef stock. You could also use chicken stock or even just water. Then 1/4 cup soy sauce and 1/4 cup rice vinegar. Next is 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Then 1 to 2 teaspoons of red pepper flakes. Then I'm going to add half of my garlic and half of my ginger, which is about 1 teaspoon each. And finally, I'm going to stir in 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Again, this is to help this sauce thicken as it cooks. Now the hard part is done. Step 1 is complete, and we're ready to move on to step 2. Step 2 is cooking the meat. And I want you to remember the 3 S's: season, sear, and set aside. So first I'm seasoning with a little sea salt and a lot of black pepper, and then I'm pouring in about 1/4 cup of the sauce. I'm giving that a little bit of a toss, and the meat is ready to cook. So then I get a pan on and get it nice and hot. Then I add some oil. I'm using coconut oil here. And once that's melted, it's time to sear the meat. So I place about half of the meat into the pan, being careful not to overcrowd it. I want the meat to sear, not to steam. And it only takes a couple of minutes to cook, so sear it on both sides and then remove it from the heat and set it aside. And of course you'll repeat that with the rest of the meat, searing it on both sides and setting it aside. And now step 2 is done. Now step 3 is cook the vegetables. So in the same pan, I'm going to add a little more coconut oil. Once that's melted, I'm going to add in the onions and the bell pepper and the carrots and the garlic, as well as the ginger. Then I'm going to give it all a good toss. And you want to stir this and keep the vegetables moving for about 3 minutes or so. And if you happen to set off your fire alarm, rest assured you're doing something right. Then add a little black pepper and give it its final toss. Now from here we're actually transitioning into step 4, which is add the sauce and combine. But it's worth noting here that some vegetables like snap peas or spinach or zucchini or kale or Swiss chard, they cook very quickly, so they can be added late into this process. Now as soon as I see that sauce starting to thicken, it's time to combine the meat with the vegetables. And stir it up for about 1.5 minutes until everything is looking glazed and glossy and the sauce is thick and sticking to the vegetables and everything just looks delicious. Once you reach that point, step 4 is completed, so remove it from the heat. And then immediately serve this as is or over some rice or noodles, your choice. And the last and optional step is add your garnish. I'm doing some sesame seeds here as well as some green onion. And this stir fry is ready to eat. Alright, let's use this next stir fry as a recap. So first, we prep. We're going to get our vegetables going. We're going to slice some sweet potato and cut it into bite-sized pieces. As well as the broccoli, we want everything to be small so it cooks quickly. And we're going to be using leeks in this recipe as well. And then again, the kings of flavor, garlic and ginger. And this time for the meat, we're going to be using chicken thighs. So just cut it up into small bite-sized pieces. Next, we make the sauce, and let's keep it pretty simple this time. Let's use some mustard, some lime juice, some honey, some olive oil, salt, and pepper. So squeeze the juice of 1 lime. Then add 2 tablespoons of mustard and 2 tablespoons of honey. Same thing with the olive oil. And then we'll add 2 pinches of sea salt and black pepper to taste. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of paprika because that's the beauty of sauces. You can add whatever you want. Alright, prep is done. Step 2, cooking the meat. If you remember the 3 S's, season, sear, and set aside. So I'm going to season the chicken with half the marinade, as well as half the garlic and half the ginger. Then get a pan on, get it nice and hot, add a little oil, and then sear that chicken. It needs to cook for about 5 minutes or so. Once it's all cooked, remove it from the heat and set it aside. Step 3, cook the vegetables. Now there are some vegetables that need to be blanched in water before they're cooked, otherwise they'll take forever. Like broccoli, cauliflower, potatoes, sweet potato, Brussels sprouts, or green beans. They just need to be blanched or steamed for about 5 minutes. It works perfectly to do this while the chicken's cooking, but just do it during step 3 to keep it simple. Now add all your vegetables to the pan and saute them with a little bit of oil until everything is cooked but not too soft, about 3 minutes. Then step 4, add the sauce and combine. Stir it a little bit, put your chicken back in, and stir everything together. Cook for an additional 1, maybe 2 minutes, and once everything is incorporated well, go ahead and remove it from the heat and immediately serve. And then of course the garnish is optional, but I'm putting some sliced almonds and some green onion. And this is what makes stir fry such a perfect meal. You can use whatever ingredients you have on hand, meat, vegetables, sauce, garnish, and it's a meal in under 30 minutes that everyone can enjoy. So follow these 4 steps and you will be on your way to making delicious stir fries at home. We'll see you next time.